Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about that list that came out on Goodreads about the 72 most popular mysteries and thrillers for the past 3 years, which I did the same video with the sci-fi and fantasy versions. I'll link that down below. I wasn't planning on doing this one originally because, quite frankly, I have not been lucky with popular recent mystery thrillers from Goodreads. I even stopped doing my Goodreads Choice Award because of this. I was basically reading like the 20 nominees and trying, well, as many as possible, and then doing my own little award show letting you know which one should have won kind of thing, or I would have voted for. And I stopped because a lot of them sucked. So it was requested though, and there is a handful that I did enjoy, so that's the only reason I'm doing this video. But quite frankly, a lot of these are flops for me. You'll see. I'll explain why, because just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you're going to feel the same. I'll explain the thought process. You can choose for yourself. And out of 72, I believe I've finished 28. So like a lot of them. So I do have a lot of opinions here, and the ones that I haven't read, I'll let you know if they are on my TBR or not, and you can feel free to change my mind. So I even put my little poop shirt because I thought it worked with a lot of these. So let's get to it. I promise I do love some mystery thrillers. It will just not sound like it in this video. So number one, and we're going to go in order of the list. Number one is The Silent Patient, which I am shocked by the amount of people that read this book. There is like over 1 million ratings on Goodreads. This is the power of publicity. I feel like once in a while, one author will be chosen, and it's the one that is pushed jam in our throats, so everyone is picking it up, and I don't understand why everyone likes it. I mean, it's popular, so you might, but to me, this was completely mediocre. Mediocre plot, mediocre writing. The twists, you could see them coming. There's literally nothing I liked about this book. It was so meh, like a 2.5, like solid meh. Super unremarkable. Why? I don't understand. Again, I might be the only one because the average rating is 4.16. So like, it's high, but to me, this was a mediocre book. The next one is The Guest List, which this one and next one I believe were part of the Reese Witherspoon book club, so I think that's why they got read so many times. This one, there's like over 500,000 ratings. I could not finish this book, and I was really trying to because it was the winner for that year, so I was doing it for the Goodreads Choice Award, you know, trying to read all of them. And I tried 7 times to read it. Like, it's not even a joke. I had the audiobook from the library, and I would press pause and like do whatever I was doing, like taking my walk or like doing my makeup in silence over listening to this. And every next morning I would be like, Emily, give it another chance. It's the winner. Like, it has to be good. It probably just needs to pick up. No, could not do it. I don't even think I made it 50% into it. I read the spoilers and I don't think I missed out. So no, again, unpopular opinion. Well, the next one is The Last Thing He Told Me, which gorgeous cover. That's pretty much the only nice thing I have to say. We actually read this together on the Patreon book club. It was our pick of that month. And the majority of us didn't really care for it. Like I said, pretty cover, but the premise, okay, to be fair, the twist, which I'll come back to premise, the twist was a bit more unique because I feel like so many of these is like drunk woman, nosy neighbor, husband cheat on a wife, and I don't care. I'm so sick of it. I don't care. But in this one, you have this woman, her husband basically disappears, and she's left with her stepdaughter, and they don't get along, and they're just trying to find him. So cool, you know, a little bit more unique. But I really didn't care for the way the main character would piece things together, like the next step in trying to find him. It made absolutely no sense, none. And like by the end, it's like a different book pretty much, and I just, meh, like it wasn't horrible. It just, I didn't care for it, but again, not the most popular opinion. The Family Upstairs, I'm not planning on reading more by the author. I actually tried 2 books by her, and I just didn't finish either of them and then realized it was the same author. So there's just something about her writing that doesn't work for me. So no. The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Okay, Ruth Ware is an author for me who is just a solid 3.5 stars. Like this one, it started really solid. You have this woman, she's sending letters to, I think it's her lawyer, basically saying that she's innocent, that she wasn't responsible for the death of the kids that she was nannying. So it starts good. I just didn't care for the ending. Like, I can't say it because spoilers, but like I didn't care for the ending. I believe people were saying that it's really similar to an old school mystery novel. What was it? Like The Turn of the Screw, I think? Like super similar title to, I don't know, I haven't read it. I probably should. But yeah, it's okay if you like atmospheric, like creepy house kind of books. Just don't expect a good ending. Some people like it, but like I didn't care for it. But I still overall like the vibes, which is usually what happens with her books for me. Tuesday Murder Club, I hadn't heard of it until I saw it on this list, but I added it to my TBR because this one and the second book are on the list, so I will try them. The Bush, finally one I liked. I promise I like sometimes some books. This one, it's the best one that I've read with the trope of, you know, woman has a baby and the baby is either possessed or evil or something, or the mom is slowly losing it, so you don't know. It's the best one that I have read with that trope. Useless husband, as is usually the case in these books, and absolutely awful kid, but you don't know, you know, is it the mom, is it the kid? What's going on? Obviously some trigger warnings. If you have kids, it's probably a little, but I really liked it. So, and the ending wasn't as vague as so many of them. I feel like authors like to keep it open, and I definitely argued with people in real life about the ending because we don't agree. So feel free to leave like a spoiler and then, you know, skip a few lines and tell me what you think happened, because I'm curious now, because I thought we all agreed, but apparently we don't. So The Wives, I've heard horrible things, so it's not on my TBR, but feel free to change my mind. The Maidens, when I saw it was the same author as The Silent Patient, I decided to never touch this book. So the review, I think, are a bit more hit and miss in this one, but his writing was so mediocre, I don't want to. An Anonymous Girl. This one, I believe, it's two authors. Frankly, okay, it's gonna sound like it happens very often, but this book was unmemorable. I literally would have to look up what it is about, and I won't, because I believe it's, again, like the whole like husband cheating thing. I don't care about these books. I will not be, I don't want to know what it is about, frankly. I don't want to remember. And like I said, it's going to sound like it happens really often that I don't remember a book, but I've been on Booktube for like 6 years now, and out of like, I don't know, like 600 and something books, there's probably a dozen I would say that about, and most of these most of those ones are in this list, so just be warned. Yeah, no. Apples Never Fall, to be honest, I put it down very, very quickly, like an hour into the audiobook. I just was having that reaction, like visceral reaction, that I hated it, and I decided I don't want to read a book I'm not gonna like, and it was my last chance with the author, so I was already kind of, you know, done with her, so I don't know. Luck Every Door by Riley Sager. Okay, I was going to say I have a love-hate relationship with him. I think at this point I just have a hate relationship with him. The first book that I read by him, the one that it's blue, The Last Time I Lied, was the first one I read by him and my favorite by him, and ever since it's been, and now it's officially just pure hate. So this one, my issue with it, you found this woman and she is, you know, desperate for money, and she is offered a lot of money to apartment set in this building that she's always wanted to live in, and it seems like, you know, haunted. Is it haunted? Is it people? Like, you don't know. So super interesting. However, I really, really resent, especially when male authors write a bunch of books where the whole story relies on the main female character being dumb, and she is dumb, like straight up dumb. So I really resented that. I also feel like he wasn't playing with the whole is it people or paranormal enough. He could have went further, and the ending is one of the worst endings I have ever read. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, hated it. So again, some people do like it, blah, 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 but no. One by One by Ruth Ware. This is my least favorite book by her, to be honest. This one is a little bit more forgettable, but essentially work meeting, I guess, that happens in a cabin during a snowstorm. It's already not sounding interesting. And there's just drama. They work on an app. No. Just don't do it, frankly. The Wife Upstairs. Okay, I do recommend it to people that like Jane Eyre. If you want like a retelling, I think it has potential as that. It wasn't like mind-blowing or anything, but if that's your jam, I think this would be worth trying. The Mother-in-Law, it's not on my TBR. The Whisper Man by Alex North. It was okay, to be honest. It's quite popular, but frankly, I didn't think it was that memorable, so you could try it. I mean, like serial killer and like trying to figure out who, blah, like it could have been good, but to me it was kind of meh. So Home Before Dark, we are back with some Riley Sager. I understand that he's very, very popular. I think him, again, there's just so much push behind his work, and I feel like his books are so mediocre. I don't understand. You can't tell me that there isn't a better book that has been read at that publishing house. Like, anyway, clearly I'm bitter at this point. I've read like all of his books, like 7 of them. Like, I am done. One recently, that's why I'm like so actively angry. This one, Haunted House, once again, which I love haunted houses. This woman lived briefly in a haunted house when she was a kid, and it's on sale, so she buys it, tries to renovate it, kind of thing. My main issue with it, which the one thing that really angered me, quite frankly, is that the main female character has her few little moments where she's trying to be like a strong, independent woman and sounding feminist, but it comes off straight up misogynistic. you know, moments that basically if you didn't know if the author was a man or a woman, you know. So overall, the book was okay. The ending could have been a little bit better, I think, but overall it was fine. It's just these moments, I was already starting to not love the author. It was right after Lock Every Door. So like, it was already a little bit on thin ice, and this was just a bit strange. My Lovely Wife on my TBR. Actually, I have the audiobook, like, I should get very soon. The Last Flight, not on my TBR. The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is my favorite book by her. I believe she only has 3. I've read 3 of her books, and this is the best one. Pick it up, pick it up. I really like how all of her books, she tends to play with timelines. So like there's like present time and then back in the day. They're all murder mystery. In this one, you have this young woman, I believe her aunt disappeared while she was working at this hotel years ago, and then she goes to work there to try to figure out what happened, kind of thing, because there might have been like a murder serial killer in the region. So there are also ghosts, which I really liked it. The ending was satisfying. It's like a solid 4 stars. I would highly recommend picking up that one. It's like it's not light, but like it's an enjoyable murder mystery. Tenor French, I haven't read anything by her, so maybe one day. The Sanatorium, not on my TBR. For some reason, that cover doesn't inspire confidence. Like, it makes me feel like it was badly photoshopped. Like, I could do that, you know? John Grisham, I haven't read anything by him. I know he's super big. Let me know his best work, kind of thing. I might try it, but we'll see. Long Bright River. My main complaint about this is that why is it categorized as a murder mystery? Because it's not a mystery. Like, it's literally family drama. Like, 90% of the book is family drama. So if it had been categorized as that, maybe I would have liked it more. But the main character is like a cop. It's fine. It's fine. It's just, it's not a mystery. Local Woman Missing. Pretty cover. Do like the pink. It's never a good sign when I mention the cover. But this was also very mediocre to me. I hadn't read anything by the author, but I had been looking forward to because she's quite popular. But you have an interesting premise. This woman disappears, and then not long after, there's another woman and her kid that disappear. And then years later, the kid reappears. And like, I don't know. I don't feel like you want to know more if you want to get into it, but it was fine. Like, just very, like, mediocre. Like, it was okay. The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. Okay, Megan Miranda is a, like, 3.5 4-star author for me. She writes very cozy murder mystery. They tend to be all in, like, small towns, or, like, some of them are, like, literally on one street, and I really like small town vibes. So they work for me as, like, perfect beach reads, summer reads. So I do recommend this one. It's not going to blow your mind, but I enjoy it. There's also, like, playing with timelines, like 2-3 years. It's in a beach town. So, you know, murder mystery in beach town. It was fun. It was fun. Would recommend it. Lisa Jewell, I mentioned I'm not planning on reading more by her. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alex Feeney. Okay. I don't think this author is really for me either. I really like the cover. I think I really resent whenever the plot relies on like a trick to trick you. You're following the story through, you know, a few point of views. There's this man who has the face thing, like he can't recognize faces. And like he goes on a last trip with his wife to try to salvage their marriage. And you could totally see some of the twists coming. And I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. Like 2 stars. Like not horrifyingly bad, just not great. The Good Sister. Why is this a thing? Why is this a thing? This was really bad in my opinion. The premise had some potential, but I really resented whatever happens, which if you read it, you might get what I mean. But essentially you have 2 sisters and you can tell they've had a really rough childhood. It seems very, very messed up. And then one of the sister, I think she's on the spectrum, I can't remember exactly, but she decides to have a baby for her sister because her sister can't have babies. I don't know if it's because I don't want kids, but like the whole idea was just horrifying. No. Again, it seems to be very unpopular because the average rating is 4.18 out of 100,000 reviews. So you might completely disagree, but for me, this was weird. Someone we know, not my TBR, although I have read one more book by the author, which actually we're going to that in 2 seconds. So I would try some more by her. Billy Summers by Stephen King. I think I'm done with Stephen King. The more I think about it, the more uninterested I am. I feel like he relies too much on like really graphic sexual assault scene for shock value, and I really resent that. So I believe there's one in there. So Not a Happy Family. That's the one I have read by the author. And it was okay. Like rich people, murder mystery. It was fine. Like it's a 3 stars, you know? Another John Grisham. Jane Harper. Okay, not this one, but I have read 3 of her books. I really tried to love her because there's so much hype. She's Australian. A lot of the audiobooks have the accent too. It was great, very atmospheric. But to me, they were okay. Like they're mysteries, murder mysteries, but like I'm just really not attached to the characters, the plot. I just didn't find it that great, and I just had no feeling, so I just decided to move on with my life. So yeah, unpopular opinion once again. The Chain. Okay, this one I was frustrated because the first half was really good. The premise is interesting. Essentially a chain of people that are being blackmailed. I was going to say bullied. Blackmailed. The kids is kidnapped. They have to, you know, get money, do something, kidnap someone else's child to continue the chain kind of thing. So super interesting. But the second half of the book, the author went too big. It started sounding like a Hollywood movie, and you could tell that they struggled to just wrap it up. So overall kind of mad, but the first half it had potential. It had potential. That's my review. The Night Swim. This one was good, finally. 4 stars for me. You're following a podcast, so if you like audiobooks, would recommend the audiobook because you get the little episodes throughout the book. This woman that has a podcast, murder mystery one, crime one, so very popular for a lot of people, and she decides to go to a small town to report on a sexual assault crime that happened. At the same time, she's trying to figure out an old crime that happened there too, and it was good. 4 stars. Do recommend. HARLAN COBEN. I don't know which book by him I will try because I've tried his most popular ones, which were really old, and they were kind of meh, but I keep hearing about his newest work, so I want to try some of his newest ones. So let me know if you are a fan of him, which one I should read. The Other Mrs. No. With that title, I'm already gone, and then it's the same author as The Local Woman Missing, so no. What You Did, not on my TBR. Is Slow Fire Burning. It's the same author as The Drunk Woman on a Train. No, I read it. It was unmemorable. Once again, don't do it. Seriously, just don't do it. It's not worth it. I didn't check the ratings. Yeah, they're not good. 3.5. That's bad on Goodreads, so don't do it. The Night She Disappeared. Again, said JEWELL. She's popular. It's just me, apparently. I will not read anything else by her. Whisper Network, not on my TBR. Blood Orange, not on my TBR. Jack Reacher series, I haven't read anything by the author, so let me know once again which one I should pick up if I want to try it, but I don't know. Miracle Creek, I did enjoy. It was giving me vibes of Celeste Ng, kind of. Like if you want almost like literally fiction, murder mystery-ish, I would recommend that if that's your jam. Unspeakable Things, not on my TBR. When No One Is Watching, not on my TBR. The Plot, not on my TBR. Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Here we are, back again. This is by far the worst book by him. This was the worst book I've read last year. The only book I gave 1 star to. Because it sounds like I'm a big hater of books in general with this video. But this was the only book I gave 1 star to last year. So like, I don't do it that often. This sucked. Everything I hate. All in one. All in one. Yuck. Straight up yuck. If the French is coming out, you know it was bad. This girl, university student that studies cinema, and her friend, best friend, roommate got murdered. She apparently saw it, but she can't remember. And she has like movies that play in her head. She's off her meds, and she decides to run away from school, leave her boyfriend, and go catch a ride to go home. Yeah. So random stranger giving her a ride. Cool. No, I hated everything about this. The ending was terrible, and then the epilogue needs to be burnt. I said what I said. So no, definitely don't. You could if you want to hate read it, but don't do it, honestly. Pretty Things, not my TBR. HARLAN COBEN, same thing as I mentioned. John Grisham, I mentioned it. The Other Wife, definitely not with that title. We Were Never Here, not my TBR. We Begin at the End, yes, do it. 4 stars for me. It's super popular in terms of, well, high rating, 67,000 ratings, but like 4.18. So like 2 family, a crime. It's more like, I want to say family drama than truly like a murder mystery or something, but I'm allowing it this time because it's actually good. That's all I'm going to say because I went into it not knowing much and I enjoyed it better that way, so do it. Every Last Secret is on my TBR. The Man Who Died Twice, that's the one I meant that I want to read the first book because both of them are on here. A Good Marriage, no thank you. The Other Black Girl, not on my TBR. Little Secrets, not on my TBR. The Final Girl Support Group, maybe, although I've heard pretty terrible things, so I don't know. Falling, I've read one terrible book about planes. Was it this year? Recently enough that I don't want to anymore. Razorblade Tears, I am dying to read this one. I have heard nothing but fantastic things, even though only 50,000 people rated it, but it's 4.11, and this one I'm dying to read it. I need to read it soon because I keep hearing it's amazing. So yes, on my TBR. State of Terror, no. Searching for Sylvie Lee? No. The Last Story of Mina Lee? No. The Maid, it was on my TBR, but everyone told me it was absolutely awful, so it's now not on my TBR, but feel free to change my mind. A Flicker in the Dark. Okay, it's another mystery that's like a 3 stars, but like it was a popcorn read. I enjoyed reading it. I don't think it's that unique, that amazing, but I enjoyed myself while reading it. So like it's working. Essentially, you have this girl, when she was growing up, her father was arrested for being like a serial killer of teenage girls in her neighborhood and cities around. And now that she's an adult, things are starting again. So like the twist, you can see it coming, but like frankly, I enjoyed it. So I'm allowing it. Every Last Fear, another book that I'm wondering who decided to put that much money behind a book, because this was so mediocre. Like it was like this whole thing like, oh, the author is anonymous. No, you know it's a man, you know, because again, horribly misogynistic and like racist thing randomly that were not edited out. Why? Literally the epilogue, which once again, why are they doing epilogues? Because clearly they cannot do it. I was listening to the audiobook, but this one I took notes, literally went back, rewinded and wrote it because it's that bad. Okay, so it's the epilogue. Things are resolved. And that's coming from female character point of view. And watching the sunset is probably too symbolic of toxic masculinity in the patriarchy for Sophia. Why are they trying to be woke but coming off as so misogynistic? Like, why are they doing this? So that was a big no. The premise was super average. Basically, family goes to a trip and like, I don't remember where it was. Was it Mexico? Yes, Mexico. And like they all get murdered, and like one of the son is still alive in university and like trying to figure out what happened. It's very mediocre idea, and then the execution was also mediocre, and then you add the little misogyny, racism, and no. Why was this published? You cannot tell me there wasn't something better that could have been published instead. Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment, same author as the guest list, so no thank you. Reckless Girls, not my TBR. The Book of Cold Cases, okay, Simone St. James, the same author as The Sundown Motel that I liked. This is kind of meh. I didn't like it as much. It had potential, but it went too weird towards the end. It's again playing with timeline. You have like a haunted house, a girl that could be a murderer. Did she murder her family or not? Blah blah. But like it was fine, but I feel like it had potential to go so much further, and like I trusted her after the other book, you know? So it was okay. It was okay. So that's the 72 books on the list. I warned you. It was a little bit of a show. A couple of these are definitely worth the read, 100%, but I find that a lot of like new release, popular on Goodreads, I just don't agree with the popular vote in general. Once in a while, there's definitely some that are totally worth it, but I've given up. Yeah. Let me know in the comment section how you felt about these, because I want to know. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, including, like I mentioned, the fantasy and sci-fi version of this. I promise that there are a couple more that I like than this one. I will see you in my next video. Bye.